I get symbols on the daily. If you guys know, my mom has given me this cross of Saint Michael, which is my saint, of course, because I resonate even with his prayer to some extent. Lately, when I had that vision on the 18th, there's some elements which resonate a little bit there, but I just wanted to show you guys how things happen. You can chalk it down to mere coincidence, of course, because there's duality to reality, to where you can look at things and just be like, okay, the probabilities are there, or you can choose the latter. And especially once you choose the latter, I think God will continue to reinforce the fact that, hey, reality happens to you as much as you happen to it when you believe in me, because I'm the creator of reality. You are just a consciousness. You are an image of my consciousness. Anyways, so right here, let me see. You guys can see Saint Michael right there. I used to have this cross right here, which this cross also has significance, by the way. Because, well, maybe I can talk about both of them in this video, right? Let me see if I can get it out, because it's kind of like stuck in there in my pocket. Okay, this has significance. I'll get into that after I get into this. My dad is a pilot. He lands the airplane. A priest walks up to him and gives him this a year ago. My mom and I are going to church. I've been doing a fast for 3 days now after I had the vision. The only thing that I went to church, and the only thing that I've eaten, is the body of Christ, so to speak, you know, if you want to interpret it that way. And right before I get to church, my mom, we both went in separate cars. She was like, hey, you can't believe what I just found in the car. It's this. And she hands it to me. And she, as she's handing it to me, is realizing that it says Saint Michael on it, right? And she tells me about the story, and I said, Mom, that's for me. I knew that was for me. I don't even have to question it. I was literally, some friends were like, oh, you shouldn't, like, that cross is cool and all, but it doesn't combine with your necklace. I'm like, I don't care. I'll put it on anyways. I got this. Combines perfectly. Everything that I'm wearing, silver, you know, just like that silver tone. It's nothing big. It's just a materialistic element to it. But, you know, I think even God will give you materialistic things even when you stop pursuing them directly, because that's precisely the opposite of what we're called to do. I think the reason why I was able to supersede, real quickly, I'm going to make this point, the reason why I was able to supersede my materialistic desires, which I have been plagued by for all my life, is because the purpose that God painted for me was much greater. And so it superseded all things. And I've realized lately that I'm, as a result, starting to get things that are materialistic that I once wanted, but I'm no longer pursuing directly. So that's absolutely beautiful. And this is even just the fact that this is silver, and I wanted something to combine. I wanted something like this. Precisely, I had envisioned, you know, not envisioned, I don't want to say that. I wanted something like this, right? And here I have it, because it turns out that when that priest gave it to me, I'm sure God told him to give it to my dad, who this ended up in the car somehow, where my mom was, where mom came out of today, and then she ended up giving it to me. And I knew for a fact that that was a sign. And right before, when I was in church, I was like, should I take this off and put this on? And sometimes I don't know what the answer is, but I was pretty certain that this right here was the answer. And I'll just put this in my pocket for now and see how and where I put this. So, yeah, what a coincidence, right? What a coincidence, especially with everything that's happening. There's 2 more coincidences that happened at church today, but I'm not even going to get into them. I'll get into this though as well. When I was probably about 7 years old, I was actually really obsessed with God. as you know, I became completely atheist. And it's so funny because you can even see a turn on my channel when I'm gonna start uploading these, and have started uploading videos about God. This is because God spoke to me, and I still didn't, still wasn't that strong in the faith. Regardless, I don't know why He spoke to me. I'll get into that in a different time. But at least back then, I had an admiration. If I was obsessed with things because I had ADHD, I was obsessed with meteorology when I was like in 4th grade. Who was obsessed with that? I was obsessed with being a Navy SEAL. I wanted to be a Navy SEAL when I was like, that was for like 2 years. I was obsessed with orca whales. I don't know why. Who's obsessed with these things, right? But I was obsessed, at least and this was only for about 3 weeks, sadly. But I was obsessed with God, man. And I was obsessed with God. And I started reading all sorts of books, and I just found it so fascinating. And when my mom saw that, she gave a cross to me. It was a golden cross, right? It looked identical to this one. And so, this is, I don't know if it's gold plated. Some of it is already coming off. But anyways, she gave that to me, and I ended up, of course, losing that obsession, because everything that has happened to me has usually just been an obsession. I just kind of just pushed it away. I was like, okay, on to the next thing. And just completely, just from one moment to the other, just completely forgot that I was in the pursuit of God at some point. And then for some reason, I had found it, and I found the top part was broken off, completely broken off, right? And, well, yeah, it was broken off, and then I just completely forgot about it. I don't even know where it ended up. I didn't care about it anymore either, so I didn't carry it around with me anymore. And then guess what? Years later, I ended up becoming atheist. Today at church, for example, I saw the person who was right next to me, who saw me become atheist almost in the moment. I saw her today, right? And keep in mind, this is my first time going to church, to that church specifically, where we used to go to in a very long time. And so I just thought that was a little bit funny, because I think she was next to me when I uttered the words. It's like, can you believe this? Like, this is all so BS, right? And so she was there, and a whole bunch of other people were actually there. Just a bunch of coincidences, right? Coincidences. And, well, I ended up going back to the faith, though, after that, and that was she saw my lowest point. But I ended up going back to the faith much later through my own path. And I'll upload some of the videos. I did a video talking about one of the things in the pursuit that I had taken in the absence of God, which actually, funny enough, I ended up tying it all back to God. So it was as if I was still seeking Him. And, well, now that I'm back in the faith, when I came back about 3 months ago to the U.S., because as you guys know, I'm living in Mexico right now. I'm back in the U.S. And 3 months ago, I found this in my room. And I was like, Mom, did you fix it? She's like, no, I just found it on the floor and I put it up on the desk for you. I was like, what? Are you serious? She's like, yeah. I don't really believe her to some extent, I'm going to believe her because I know that these things happen, but the objective part of me, which, has always been objective, and is still extremely objective, guys. It's still extremely hard for me to believe some of these coincidences aren't a mere coincidence, right? But that objective part of me was like, no, but, I took the latter, like I encourage most people to do. I'm believing that it is the case. I trust in what my mom says, right? I don't think she would lie to me about this. She already knows how religious I am. She doesn't have to push me over the edge like she tried to multiple times, right? She knows I'm probably more, not even religious, I would say, right? Because I don't think that's the right word. I have a strong connection with God, and I have a personal connection with God, a relationship with God, and that's really what she cares about at the end of the day. I wouldn't even know really what denomination I categorize as. And guess what? Because this is new to me, this is all somewhat new to me, I still am not very familiar. I can't pull up a verse from the Bible so easily like most people can. But this right here, I'm just gonna believe this. was given to me by God as well, just as this was here too. This beautiful thing, which now combines with everything that I'm wearing. How beautiful, right? And I'm also going to give you guys another story of why this is significant, because I was talking with a friend of mine who, on his birthday yesterday, actually, it was his birthday yesterday, yes, yesterday was his birthday. I was talking to him and I was telling him my story and about what happened the day of the eclipse, and he's like, that was your baptism. I was like, what? I was like, yeah, that was your baptism. You made a commitment to God, you know. And he saw it from that lens. And the day of my baptism, I took a photo of this right here for some reason, because it had some significance to me, right? I'll throw up that picture. All right, there it is. And as soon as I took that picture, my dad, who by the way is really atheist, I saw a message from him. As soon as I took the picture on my phone, there was like a message that popped up, a message notification. Dad says, "Oh Jesus." I know my dad wouldn't say that. Is my dad like watching me through the camera? Did he see what I took? Did he just see that I took a photo of this right here? And then I checked. I was shocked. I was like, Dad, how did you know I was? And then it said message undone, and it said, "Oh Jess," because my dad for some reason likes to talk like that, like, "Oh Jess, Jesser," you know, just trying to be, you know, funny. I was like, oh, well, I know what's happening here. So yeah, these are the times that these things, sometimes little things, will bring you signs. It'll get you a little bit closer. You just have to be receptive to that. You have to be receptive to it, and like I said, you have to understand that there is a duality to these things. And yes, you can chalk it up to a mere coincidence, but then what's the point? If I'd have chalked it up to mere coincidences, I wouldn't have jumped in the day of the eclipse, and which to me that day has been significant ever since, and I will never forget that day. So anyways, that is all, guys. Rain is here.
I'm back, boy.
Yes, sir. And that's it. Remember, we were made in the image of God.
God loves you and his kingdom is within you. And when you findeth him, you will findeth it. Love.